A massive thank you to all of our sponsors on the Suffolk Non-League show. Without their help and support this year, we would not have been able to have made the improvements that we have done to the show. Other than sponsoring one of our local sides, Grunsborough in the SIL, GBS are a family-run construction company in Ipswich operating nationwide with over 30 years experience in fire protection, diamond drilling, commercial building, health and safety and asbestos removal. Starling and Lock, a self-employed electrician since 1989 offering domestic work and certificates for people buying and selling houses, an NIC EIC member based in the Stowmarket, Suffolk area. All of the branding that you see on the Suffolk Non-League show comes from these guys at Matchday Marketing. They are a sports marketing and branding company helping enhance the image and profile of grassroots football and non-league clubs at a very low cost, utilising over 20 plus years in the game. All of the merchandise that is available with the Suffolk Non-League show has come from these guys at Your Shirts. They offer eye-catching, professional-looking garments for your business, team, club or organisation. They offer a range of printing methods to cover all individual costs. Doesn't matter if it's text, images or anything else that you require to look unique and stand out from the competition. These guys are creating our website and they can do the same for you. Clabber Creative are an agency based in Framlingham, Suffolk, offering fully managed football club websites. They are about giving your club a professional look, feel and ongoing support to maintain the site. Alpha Surveys, providing topographical and measured building surveys throughout East Anglia. If you are in need of quality surveys on any home improvements, contact Alpha Surveys on Instagram. Links for all of these companies will be in the description below. Go and check them out and tell them that DeeJam has sent you. Good evening, everybody, and welcome along to another Monday Night Live edition of the Suffolk Non-League show. For those of you who are listening back to this on podcast platforms, hello, welcome, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening whenever you happen to be listening to this. But yes, it's Monday night, and it is absolutely roasting indoors and outdoors. So if you hear buzzing going on, there's either one of two reasons for it. It's because you can either hear the fan, and I make no apologies for that whatsoever, or it's because I've opened the windows in preparation for tonight and the entire cast of Bugs Life has decided to come in. So if you see me swatting this around at any point during the evening, you know I'm going a bit mad because they won't bloody leave me alone. But here we are. Anyway.
When your wife comes in and you give her a slap with it by mistake, you're in trouble, mate.
There we go. There we go. How are you, mate? It's been a while. It's been a couple of weeks. How have things been with you?
Sweaty. Yeah, it's bad, isn't it? But it's been fun. Had a bit of a COVID nightmare last week with the little boy. So thought he'd got it. Turned out he hadn't. So that's out of the way now. And should we crack on as normal again?
Yes, yeah, definitely. And despite the fact that it is my birthday today, we are doing the show. I did feel, because we missed last week's show, if we'd have done last week's, I might have taken tonight off. But because we missed last week's, I thought I can't do it 2 weeks in a row. We've got to...
Absolutely not. You wouldn't have done. I had to do my birthday.
Yeah. Well, yeah, true. I think you wanted to. That's the difference. But yeah, well, we are here. We are live once again. I hope everyone is doing well and is keeping safe. But yeah, looking forward to tonight's show. We've got a lot to go through. There's been a lot of cup draws. There's been a lot of news. There has been, we've got obviously all of the opening fixtures from step 3 to step 7 to discuss. So a lot to get excited about, a lot to talk about. But yeah, really, really excited for it. We've got loads of you already joining into the chat, which is great. I'm so grateful that all of you So grateful that all of you lot are here. So Shem, evening. Hope you're all okay. Yes, we're doing good, my friend. Beginning to think we was off again. Yes, yeah, I know. Sorry, as I said last week, unfortunately, I said these things can't be helped, but luckily everybody's all well and good.
We're getting affected by it as much as the pre-season fixtures.
Yeah, yeah, true, very true. Maverick, evening all. Sean Tillman, evening, good evening, Sean. Hope you're doing well. Ben, hi lads. I'm on the computer tonight due to my phone being smashed. Christ, do we want to know the backstory behind that? How it all happened, Ben? But I'm glad you've joined, mate. That's the main thing. Dan Puffed, evening from just across the border in Braintree. Dan, welcome along. Thanks a lot for joining us, mate. Hope you're well. If it is your first time joining us, remember to hit the subscribe button. It really does help. I think we're about 10 subscribers away from 1,700, which is like amazing, absolutely amazing. Hannah, evening Hannah. I saw some of your pictures from this weekend's game at Witton. They were absolutely superb. If you haven't checked out Hannah's stuff, make sure you follow her on Twitter because they were really, really good.
Got some credit from the opposition as well.
Right.
Even Stanway put in how good the pictures were, so good to be getting noticed.
Yes, yeah, definitely. Dan, good to have you in the building, my man. Hope you're doing well. Please, no mention of COVID in the show. It is boring now. But hey, guys, hope you're well and hope Adam and your family are a lot better up the Claydon. Well, unfortunately, we will have to talk about it a little bit, but we'll try and get through it as quick as we possibly can for you,
try to do it in a positive manner.
Yeah, I think that's the key. Fisher, Westerfield are in the building. Evening, gents. Alex is also here. Evening, May. Ipswich Vale Exiles. Evening, all. Evening, everybody. Again, if you haven't given these guys a follow on Twitter, they have a brand new Twitter account. Make sure you put it in the chat, mate. Put it in the chat so everyone can go over there and get following you because I know you're trying to build up the new club social media presence, which is fantastic. So go and give them a follow. Oh, happy birthday from Luke. Thank you very much. Happy birthday from Dan and from Shem and from Ipswich Vale Exiles. Evening, gents, from Shane. Hope you're doing well, mate. Alex, happy birthday. Happy birthday. Wow, this is really nice. Thanks, everyone.
Look at all the love.
Oh, it's amazing, isn't it? It's amazing. There you go. At Vale Exiles. Go give them a follow over on Twitter. Follow the Stroller. Evening, lads, and happy birthday. Thanks a lot, mate. Happy birthday. Thank you very much from Ben. Matchday Marketing. Evening, all. Suffolk custom kits incoming for next season. I like it. We need to know a little bit more about that. Is he kind of told you any details on that? Or no? Okay. Maybe you want to drop something in the maybe message us afterwards. Happy birthday from Hannah. Thank you very much. But yeah, let's crack on with this evening's show. As I said, we do have quite a few items to discuss, but as you will all be aware by now, we as a country have moved on to the next part of the government's roadmap. We're now into step 4, which means that there are no longer restrictions for, in essence, the way we live our life and the way that football is conducted. There is no limitations on the number of people that can go to games, which from a non-league perspective is fantastic. No limitations on changing rooms, etc. So yeah, all positive things kind of moving forward. For those of you who haven't seen, there's a number of different things you can now do, including no limits on the number of people that can now meet. 1 meter rule has been removed. Face coverings are no longer required. Changing rooms can be used. However, participation should be used at people's own judgment. No capacity limits for spectators. Hospitality is permitted without restrictions. NHS test and trace QR codes are no longer required. So there's a lot of positive things.
Point 1 is a really positive one for the clubs because I know there was like a on-field adaptations for playing football no longer required. I know this is one of those things that was a bit of a ball ache, really, is going around spraying balls with disinfectant and stuff.
Yeah.
Gone.
Yeah.
We can just play football like we used to play football. This is where we're talking about, COVID, but this is positive now. And put to one side everything that's happening at the moment. It means that we can get on in a more normal way, and we haven't seen a normal way of playing football now since March last year. This is a very, very long time ago when everything got sort of ended.
Yeah, so I remember that weekend very well, very, very well.
So do you know what? Like, we have tried to muddle through, and on the most part, we've tried to get games done where we can. I think a highlight was getting the cup finals done last year.
Yeah.
And trying to get that all done within the protocols and everything. So back on the horse, doing things as we were before, and removing strain from volunteers. And there's going to be a lot of people around clubs that have got a bit of relief.
Yeah, I think that is a very valid point, particularly the volunteers who are looking after everything day in, day out, and they're the ones that make sure that everything can get done quite smoothly. It's a weight off their shoulders, isn't it? They can literally just concentrate on people coming in the door, their experience when they're here, and that's it.
Running the club. People are going back to running clubs rather than running the disinfectant through the wash, it does change things considerably. And I'm sure clubs probably still want to have a COVID officer or whatever in place, but things can be done a bit more normally, and I hope that everyone's relieved to see that normality. And I know we're not having the best time at the moment with a few of the other things around football in terms of being able to get sides out. It's lovely to hear when teams are doing all they can just to put 11 together and get a game on, but there's a lot of teams where we have to sympathise and understand they haven't been so lucky as to be able to do that, and it's a bit tough at the moment. So hopefully this is a bit of a breath of positivity to go forward and know we can do things in a better way.
I mean, I'd love to know what people's thoughts on it are. And I know we won't dwell on it too much because it is a topic that we have revisited a lot again and again. And I know Dan in particular is one of those people, and I know there are lots of them in the chat right now who are fed up with having the same conversation again and again. But are people excited moving forward now because the restrictions have been lifted, or are you one of those people that is still worried about various different bits and pieces? Because the amount of cancellations that we're getting for pre-season friendlies, it's not exactly filling me with much confidence moving into next season. I know things will get better, and I'm hoping obviously the more people that get double jabs, then we'll be in a far better situation. But I mean, how many times have we tagged and stuff every single day, Adam, where please retweet, our game's been cancelled because of COVID.
So there's a bit of an insight which is like worthwhile sharing with everybody. I've been in conversation with Connor, who does our website for us, and it's got to the level where we're getting tagged in so much stuff, we want to solve a problem. So we're looking to build in a friendly fixture finder within our website, so people will be able to get together and organise friendlies off basically a message board type basis to help clubs out. And to help that happen, because it's not like people are losing a friendly once. I've seen a team lose a friendly 3 times.
There's a lot.
And you begin to wonder, like, you've got the easing of restrictions and stuff, but it's other things that are stopping people from being able to play games. But we're in a place now where we can just crack on and play. So it's, how able are we to get 11 players plus a couple of subs together now? Like, what resources do we have to pull on to be able to do it and to be able to just crack on and enjoy the game? And I think there's Ferg from Stanton said to me, like, that we've been doing things, there's been big gatherings at football and stuff like that. So really we want to just try and get on with things where possible. There is a need to be careful.
Of course,
I'm not playing that down. There's definitely a need to be careful, and COVID's an absolutely horrible thing. But if we can crack on where possible, then excellent.
Yeah, exactly. We've had a few people getting involved in the comments here. As I said, throughout the show, leave us your comments on everything that we talk about. We want to hear from you exactly like these guys have. Westerfield, our gaffer, gets to do his very first team talk in a changing room 2 seasons in.
That's a joke, isn't it?
It's a sad reflection of where we are, but it's brilliant, and I'm glad he's finally getting it done. Dan, good. There's no limit on crowd numbers, but I hope the option to buy advanced tickets stays in place.
I quite like the advanced ticketing system for non-league games. I don't know what the cost is to clubs, but I quite like that thing of like turning up, having your ticket all ready, scan yourself in, job done.
Yeah, I was talking to a few people from Bury recently because obviously the 2 games I've covered have been at Bury's ground, and they're in two minds this season as to how they're going to do things moving forward, because they've got, I think they said, 200 season tickets sold.
That's impressive in itself.
And they reckon that they can get 400 tickets kind of sold for every single game. And obviously when the big derbies come around, they're going to sell even more, but they're not sure whether or not they're going to do maybe the bigger games on an advanced basis. They said they're just going to kind of play it by ear this season and do it, because for them it worked very well, didn't it? They were one of the success stories.
Yeah. What we've got to remember though is that when we're saying everything's restrictions are lifted, this includes inside clubhouses, everything. So there isn't actually as much need to do the tickets. If there's a cost to that ticketing system, then clubs will probably quite rightly say, well, that's somewhere where we can trim some fat and save a little bit of money after a couple of lean years.
Yeah, probably. Let's face it, at non-league level, anytime you can trim any sort of money, it's a win-win, isn't it?
And when we go back, we might see that. Like, I know, like the 2 Dans that are in the chat, they both love going to different grounds. I know from Twitter they go to a lot of grounds, and maybe they'll be the first to see it and first to admit it that there might be some grounds they go to that look a bit unloved from the last couple of years. So it's like, how do you recoup the money to put that love back in again and to get it to where it can need to be? Because you've got to admit, like, clubs are run on the money that comes through the gate and the money that comes via sponsors that they haven't been able to have for 2 years now, really.
Yeah, exactly it. Dan Barnard, people just need to be careful and not flood bars, clubs, because the Euro final absolutely got a lot of people and they had to self-isolate. Well, yeah, I know of one particular location. I don't know if I want to mention it, but I'm glad I didn't book a ticket for that place. That's all I'm going to say, because they got royally screwed over, because all it takes is for one person to get pinged. You're in that location, but you're nowhere near that person, and you're self-isolating. So
it's the impracticalities of it. Well, I was speaking to Dan Snell this week, and it's like, my little boy goes to school like soon, and you think like, well, if we had to all self-isolate for a long period of time, it's like missing his last days in nursery and stuff like that. And you can't completely protect yourself in a bubble, but the implications of having to just do nothing, and like, whilst I was isolating with him, I couldn't work.
Yeah, no, you couldn't.
And all of a sudden, I've like lost a week at work, and I'm fairly new in my job and stuff, and it's majorly inconvenient. And people will be feeling that all over.
Yeah, no, definitely. Shem, sadly, my oldest has COVID due to an outbreak at school. Half the team can't train or play for 10 days now. This will affect teams and matches, but we have to get on with it. That's the thing. It's what Shem has said there is right smack bang in the middle of the 2 arguments, isn't it? You've still got to worry about it, but you can't let it control you, and you've got to kind of move on with your life and start trying to get back to some sort of normality. Because if we constantly fixate on it, it is going to start dominating our lives, isn't it? Like,
I really hope
precautions and do what you feel is right and appropriate to do, but like, we need to start moving forward at some point, don't we? It's just when is the right time to start?
We're going to probably be forced to use bigger squads, aren't we? Like, so this could be the year for those that are in reserves or under 18s, under 23s, whatever the category is at your club. I'm covering broad spectrum here, all the way up to sort of step 3, all the way down what they use. But those on the peripheries and that are nearly ready to step up could get that first appearance off the bench. Could get that first start in a cup game, because players might not be able to play for one reason or another, and it should be an opportunity for different people to get developed and pulled into the side. Because what I'd like to see is those games played now because we can, not called off because of COVID as an excuse not to play. We need the season to happen, but there's been too much pain through people not completing the seasons, and that's culminated in. You can go all the way through from the points per game argument to the AGM argument at the SIL level. We do not want those situations again because it's too much pain. You want to do things properly.
That's the thing. Would you, as a manager, rather see your game being postponed, or would you rather see some of your boys from the reserves and the under 18s making that step up. And it's only for one game, or it might be for 2 games. You don't know, but you're right. It's an opportunity to do it. I don't think people will, because I think winning means far too much to a lot of people, doesn't it? And I think they will rely solely on the first team. But you would like to think that.
The funny thing is, we've set a precedent now, so whereby we've gone back on this points per game argument. People might think, well, if we cancel and always play with our full strength side, we're going to be in a better position points per game than if we put youth players out and perhaps draw or lose because we weren't as full strength as the opposition were. It's going to need people to be fearless and to want to play football. But as we know, we've already looked at the promotion criteria. There's not as many spots available this year.
Yeah,
and it's going to be quite hotly contested in those leagues. And those that want to go up are going to push hard.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. My hope is teams don't use it as an excuse to call off games, which I don't think many will. Fox in the box, Adam's right. Get 11 for and able players. Fit and able players, plus a few subs from across the club and play the games. Dan, I think the advanced ticketing is better, as then you have their details if anything happens COVID-wise. That's a
really good way of doing it.
That's a very good point. And Shem agrees with Dan on that point. Maverick, surely advanced tickets is a strategy. Why leave it all to chance on the day? If you have bought a ticket ahead of time, you're more likely to go. Be interesting to see the stats on this style of strategy. That's
a great shout as well, isn't it? Because you've sold a ticket, so you've either got more in there to get that sort of secondary income, or you've sold a ticket and you've made the money anyway. You charge a cancellation fee on there.
Shem, been to 4 different football venues in 2 weeks, and clubs were excellent with restrictions, etc. Shane, I actually caught COVID last week. I've been ill and I've been isolated. I hope you are doing well, mate. I hope everything's all right.
Good to hear. It's frustrating.
Not too bad. Maverick, is not as easy as it sounds, gents, for smaller clubs. No,
absolutely not.
I get that. 100% I get that. But for those who have the option of being able to rely on their reserves or their youth teams, there's no harm in dragging a few of those guys up and just giving them that experience.
That's not a case
I do
tarring everyone with the same brush. It's finding a way. There's a balance to be found between finding a way, giving new players experience, and making sure that everyone can play the games. Because I know full well that if half your squad is out because of COVID, then you take half of another squad, whereas the other team that can't play anyway. So you're taking somebody out of the equation, but where possible, 100%. Let's not take that too literally.
No, exactly. Ben, youth sides will be involved in the first team, especially due to COVID outbreaks occasionally. We've got Shane. We must not take the changes for granted. Stay safe, friends. Follow the trawler. Agree, Maverick. And also for some clubs, it's a nice early guide to income for a weekend. Sounds silly, but for board and volunteers, knowing you have sold X in advance can relieve some stresses. It's very, very true.
And help you plan as well. Plan the number of volunteers you're going to need there and stuff like that. But in our area at Step 4, we've got a lot of big derbies this year. So how the clubs...
You've seen the one on Boxing Day, right?
Well, this is it. On Boxing Day, a derby of that size, how do the clubs staff themselves? And plan? You need some sort of indicator. Tickets could be a great solution to that. It's nice to get a bit of groupthink behind things and understand what people think is best.
But that's the thing, the whole reason why we have these discussions is then we can then take that and talk to clubs about it. So this feedback and what we're now talking about, I'm definitely going to go around to different clubs and express that to them. It's definitely an idea for people to consider. And if it's worked in the past, then it's definitely worth something, something that they might want to do again. So it's exactly the whole reason why we do this show, because we want to see the whole of Suffolk non-league football and non-league football in our particular counties and stuff improve. So no, I'm all for that. Dan, didn't look like 675 at Bury last week to me, but it was publicised as a sellout, so money in the bank, even if people don't turn up. Winner.
I tell you what, with that one, Dan, I think people bought tickets for it thinking it was going to be Ipswich's first team and binned it last minute because at the very last hurdle, they decided they weren't sending the first team. And I think I know a lot of people that said they wouldn't turn up to that game if it was under 18s and under 23s. And for the price of the ticket, I don't think people will mind missing out to have the time with the family.
Yeah.
But you're getting the Ipswich fans on the bandwagon of seeing the new squad, quite rightly so. They're keen to have a look. There's hype around it all the time. The squad managed to play on Saturday, and there's almost anger at the fact they did it on behind closed doors at Fulham, so people couldn't see.
Yeah, no, Dan agrees with you on that one. Dan Parfica said, I can't help but think some clubs are using the ping to their advantage. Too many clubs falling at their knees when one person has been pinged. Can't plan games as they're dropping like flies. Well, yeah, I mean, it's difficult to comment, but we saw it a lot last season, didn't we? So you just hope that people don't repeat the same things again and again. But I suppose when it's pre-season, the option is there of, oh, well, it's only pre-season. Let's not bother taking the risk. We'll just cancel our game and we'll try and find an alternative at another point. So
I'd be thinking the opposite. I'd be thinking it's pre-season. The boys have barely played for goodness knows how long. They need minutes in the legs. You cannot go into a season at any level without games behind you. Some teams at step 3 and 4, I'm seeing the most monstrous amount of friendlies that they're playing. Huge lists of friendlies to try and get themselves back up to speed. It's the equivalent of about a third of a season's worth of games in friendlies. So I don't know, but it's that thing that do you want to play a game? Do teams want to play a game? Is the friendly just there to run the first team out, or are they prepared to extend it to a broader subsection of the squad and of the club as a whole to get things going?
Yeah. Ben's had to jump onto Twitch. Love that. The fact that we've got somebody on Twitch is absolutely brilliant. I love that. Maverick, I was planning on going to the Stevenage game as well, but now that's been cancelled. I don't know why Stevenage
today.
I'm not sure why
Stevenage have got COVID in their camp, but they all train close together. So, like going back to Dan Puff's point, like that's likely that a whole group of them have been pinged. If one of them has actually got it and they've been training in close proximity,
right?
It's highly likely that half the squad is missing.
Yeah. Maverick, we are doing now 2 friendlies a week just to get us back up and running.
Yeah, that's what I mean. People are. And maybe that's the pacing that's also going to be needed. We look at the pacing of the Furlough None League this season, and we'll go into it in detail in a minute, but the expectation with cup games in there will probably be 2 games a week. So doing 2 friendlies a week where possible, and I know Witten have been doing that, along with Thetford have also been playing them at high frequency, is starting to set that tone of how frequently they can play and what things look like fitness-wise.
Yeah, no, definitely. Dan, will clubs stop training as to reduce contact with teammates and only play friendlies? I mean, maybe it's an option.
I think that's a reasonable way of preventing any additional contact, because it's only when the boys get together that you've got this ping issue for the next few weeks. If they until they've been double jabbed. So that is an example of how you could prevent it, because if they played on the Saturday, then they were in close contact with somebody on the Monday and they were going to train on the Tuesday. Or if they didn't train but played on the Thursday, that person would isolate without getting together again the next day, which could cause the issue. So on the timeline of things, that could prevent issues, that could save things. But I think you might have to wait until the season gets up and running, and it might be too late before we find out that that's a viable way out. And is not training a solution to clubs that want to play at this semi-pro level when you're training twice a week as well? I don't know.
Yeah. No, definitely. Totally agree. Was planning to go to Ipswich versus Stevenage tomorrow, but asked off. I think neither club want to play at Needham Market, in all honesty. We'll answer this question before we kind of move on, because I think we'll kind of wrap this part of the show up. Thoughts on Witten's recent signings? My tip for dark horses, Anton Clark to Wanderers looks like a good move. Witten's recent signings, Adam.
They're making moves.
Yeah.
I'm sure there'll be more to come. We'll see. Like it's not the end of pre-season yet, so we don't know what the squad's going to look like yet. But Witten have the one I'd like to flag is getting Dan Davies in from Felixstowe, a very, very experienced campaigner and he's been there and done it from the promotion point of view at centre half. So yeah, we'll see. Shane's saying there's more to come. So yeah. I think there's quality been added in that team, a lot of quality, and I think that they're well. One of the things that I think will stand out, and this isn't, I'm not picking on Witten for this one. This is a broad thing. The teams that are padded out with a few more players do stand a better chance, in my opinion, this season. Not necessarily having tons of really high quality players, but a good broad spectrum of players, and maybe players that can play in a variety of positions. Because when it gets high intensity, they're going to be able to roll and rotate.
Well, we looked at the fixtures before we went live, didn't we? We just picked up the Furlough None Prem as an example. They are there are teams in there that are playing Saturday, Tuesday every week from the beginning of August right through to the end of October. And I didn't click into November, so it could be going beyond that. But every single week is Saturday, Tuesday. Now,
the Furlough None is like a groundhog's haven, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh God, yeah. This year, my midweek games are going to go absolutely through the roof. 100%. 100% they are. I'm going to be loving it. Absolutely loving it this year.
It's so going to be interesting as well to see how that reflects in the Furlough None North. Just because of the fewer teams, and will they be able to get away with slightly leaner squads, coupling up with the fact that there isn't so much worry for some of those teams about getting relegated because it's virtually impossible. So less intensity, maybe smaller squads needed. Furlough None Prem teams, very, very competitive league where a big squad is going to be needed with a broader range of quality players as such, whereby you just need more numbers, more bodies, people that are a little bit more flexible with where they can play.
You can't be relying on one or two people to drag you through this season. It's just not going to happen.
No, I mean, if you're at a club that's got one player that can basically play right back, and normally they'd play right back, do the whole season, someone would fill in case of an injury, you're probably not going to get away with it this season.
No, I think so.
For example. Yeah.
Shane, strongest squad since I joined. Squad increase taken into account the volume of games this season, which is something we've just spoken about. There's not a lot of training happening if teams are playing 2 friendlies a week. That's a very decent point.
I think again, we're talking different levels of the game. I think normally SAL, you train typically once a week, wouldn't you, and play. So if you do 2 friendlies, I think that's enough. I think some of the Furlough None sides, I know at step 5 will train twice and play 1 friendly, or play 2 friendlies and train once, depending on what the balance is. So at different levels, there's different needs, but there is still a balance to be struck there, where if there is a fear of additional contact, then something can be changed. But if the boys are together twice a week anyway, I think if the inevitable is going to happen, it's going to happen.
Yeah, definitely. Jack, that is why we're lucky with Mold Barton. Striker played left back on Saturday due to players isolating.
This is my point, though. If you've got people with that degree of flexibility, and as a club you're comfortable to do it, how ideal is that?
Yeah,
and when the season comes around, that will probably be needed again.
Yeah, definitely. Dan, the biggest disappointment with the fixtures so far is the big lack of Wednesday games. I think clubs are missing a trick by all playing Tuesday nights. Well, maybe at some point clubs will start to ask for their fixtures to be changed to a Friday or a Wednesday. I don't know if they were asked
they need to play Friday night football. It's ridiculous. In this area with Ipswich and Norwich as well, they should be doing more to get more through the gate, and it's just a way of being a bit more innovative.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. Follow the trawler for later. Spoken to a few people at step 3, and this pre-season, in spite of everything, has seen clubs spending more than they've had seen for quite a few seasons. Are we seeing anything similar in step 4? Why are you laughing?
It's such a contentious thing, isn't it? You see people sign, and I think some clubs are spending a lot more, and I've got a cognitive thought process behind why I think that is happening. And other clubs, I think you'll see spend a lot less and budgets drop, and that may be because the money isn't there anymore, or it might be because they don't feel they need to spend the money. I always go back to Clacton's example from last season, where they said, well, this season, because they're not letting us make the transfer, is just pointless. It's a dead rubber season, so why would they invest? Clubs will choose what to invest in, and I think clubs that already know in the Furlough None North that they probably aren't quite at the level of investment where they can challenge at the top half will drop that investment more. Other clubs where they want to be out of step 6 know there's fewer places and they will have to throw money at it one way or another to make it happen.
Yeah, no, I agree. Suffolk, Ben Moore, get a decent striker in who knows the league and high with strength in depth. Dan has put, surprised how far they've moved the boundary for Furlough None North, Cornard and Ipswich Wanderers in the South Division, and to have Peterborough North Star and Willsey seems strange as they are.
There's with that, Dan, there is a bit of thinkers. Wanderers chose to move before other clubs dropped out, so the boundary looks a little bit artificial on where it is, and also the northern boundary of the Northern League has been pulled in a little bit because Blackstones and, help me out, James, as another team, actually successfully got transferred over, didn't they?
Oh God, who was it? That's going to bug me now. Someone in the comment section. Where's Dan Snell when you need him?
I was going to say, Dan, so there's 2 teams that are on the northernmost boundary, and it has all been confirmed and gone through that the league is confirmed that they're not in it anymore. And that's why we've got this 16-20 split. But there's also Sudbury and stuff like that, isn't there? That Sudbury reserves have also gone into the southern section. So there's a few there that the league could have virtually looked as it did last season, and it would have been fine. And it will really irk me that there's no relegation to play for if that is the way it plays out.
Yeah, definitely. Bournemouth, there we go.
Bournemouth, thank you.
Bournemouth. And Dan was on it as well. I knew that. Shem, Gretna, brilliant answer.
May as well be.
Jason, good to have you in the chat, my man. Hope you're doing well. Right, let's move on to the next part of the show. Just we've got one bit of good news we wanted to highlight before we go through some of the cup draws that have been announced and the opening day fixtures, and we've got all the stuff you can look forward to moving forward into next season. We did have the news coming out of our area that Kevin Castro, the youngster that some of you will be very familiar with from our part of the world, has got a move to West Brom. And we thought it would just be worth highlighting that and just saying congratulations on his move.
It's an incredible story.
Yeah, definitely. Get involved in the comment section right now if you've seen him and let us know how good he is, because it's not someone that I've seen play.
Yes, you have.
No, it was at the Thetford final, wasn't it?
Yeah, he absolutely tore them up.
Yeah, no, you're right. You are dead right. Let us know in the comment section how good he is. So this is what I'll read you Kevin's statement, because honestly, I thought it was absolutely brilliant what he had to say on the move. But this is what West Brom said on it. They've secured the signing of Kevin Castro on a 2-year deal following a successful trial period at the club. He's committed his future to the Hawthorns with the options of a further year. Energetic and powerful central midfielder, welcome to the club. But as I said, it was more on what he said, which I thought was absolutely fantastic. He has put, it took a long time, but I always knew that I was going to get there at some point. Having been at top teams such as Chelsea and Arsenal, I knew there was a place for me in the professional game somewhere. It was just about hard work and learning. I'm delighted the club have given me the opportunity. The way we want to play this year is going to bring the best out of me. I've just got to be able to play to the expectations, and hopefully I will get my chance to prove myself to everyone. I never doubt myself. For me, this is a stepping stone, really, as my aim is to be one of the best players in the world. And I know I will be. Your thoughts on that? That is a hell of a statement. It's not the traditional, really grateful for the opportunity. I'll make my mark when I come in, and I'm just so grateful to be here. The stepping stone. I will be the best in the world. I never doubted myself. I mean, that is just incredible.
Someone's
love it.
handed him the new signing bingo card. He's ripped it up, said "fuck that," and written a new one. Hasn't he?
I just love
goodness.
it. I absolutely love the confidence in the man. What do you make of it? Because for me, that is absolutely superb. I admire the honesty rather than the traditional I just think I thought that was fantastic. There are going to be so many people in the comment section that are just like, what a dickhead. But
yeah, I mean, the lad has been on a grind. He was in with Ipswich for a heck of a long time, getting game time in the under 23s. But I've seen him play. It's a standout player. And that was when he was quite a bit younger. It's astounding to watch. I've never seen anyone. He played on left wing.
Yeah, was he 17 when we watched him? He wouldn't have been very old, would he?
Yeah, and I think Irv's comment there is a bit of a sticking point for me. A lot to live up to. People don't forget that stuff.
No.
Unfortunately, in the world that we live in, and especially with social media, and I don't want to come across as being a bit of a troll with it all, but honestly, if anything goes wrong, some smart ass will pull that comment up. And it'll be a video clip of him and that flashing over the top of it.
Yeah, football.
I want to be the best in the world, and it'll be him swinging across into row Z. Like he's put himself on a horrible pedestal by doing it, and maybe shown a bit of media naivety with it. But he'll learn. This is his first professional club, and they will get media training. And I can assure you that he'll have a different interview with somebody 6 months down the line, and he'll sound like a different person. But
I can't hope he doesn't.
No, I know.
You need characters like this in the game. Do you know what, like that Ibrahimovic character of, I don't care what the rest of the world thinks. I know that I'm bloody amazing. And
you are
who are we to say that this kid won't go on to be something fantastic? And he's had to grind and get through the levels that he has done, and he's had all of his knockbacks and stuff like that.
I'm not writing him off, but the Roy Keane in me would say he's been a bit of a joker doing that.
Yeah.
Do you know, but part of me wants to bat that right down and say, right, you're going to be the best in the world. You better be in the first team the first week of the season, because Messi was at that age. Do you know what I mean? Like when you say best players in the world and the position that he plays in, he's literally saying he wants to be of that standard in a few years' time, and you're thinking like. Most people would turn around and say, I have got the best platform possible to further my career and make a success for myself. But instead he's basically said, I've signed for West Brom. That's a platform for me to move up the ladder, and he hasn't even played a game.
Brilliant.
Like, it's good that he's got confidence, because it's in short supply at the moment with people anyway, but I find it quite a tough read.
To be honest, this is exactly the stuff that every single footballer thinks about themselves. They just don't say it out loud.
Yes,
this is the problem. He's got the balls to say it out loud. That's the difference. Most people, as you quite rightly say, when they go through the academies, they are told, don't say this, do this, do that. He's had none of that, and he's just said whatever's come on his mind, and he's probably not giving it much thought. But
you know what? Some of that attitude may well be the reason why he hasn't quite got the deals at the other clubs, because he has been in professional clubs for months.
Maybe.
Like ages, he's been on the radar of pro clubs. And some of the more sensitive sausages amongst the professional clubs would be like, oh, I don't want someone coming in saying they're going to be the best. That's just going to set us up for failure.
Yeah.
Whereas West Brom have turned around and said, you know what, that's what this guy believes, and we see he's got the talent. I want to buy into that. I want a piece of it. Let's give him a couple of years on a contract and see what he does. Because every now and again, a football team will roll the dice, and hell will it pay off.
Yeah. Let's get some of your comments up on the screen. Jack, great to see. Sonny Carey signed for Blackpool too from Kings Lynn after being at Wrexham, which is a very, very good point. Is Nick Bentner his script writer? Says follow the troller. Maverick, arrogant, question mark. Hannah, I need to take some notes. Ipswich Vale Exiles, self-belief rather than arrogance, in my opinion. Ben Moore has put, there is no, West Brom is a massive club. One we missed out on Ipswich Town in years to come. And Shem has put, I hope Wall fans don't see that.
I do think Ipswich missed out on him. With the talent he's got, I do feel like Ipswich should have picked him up.
Yeah.
But
unfortunately, this happens at every single club, doesn't it? Like, it doesn't matter if you have 9 amazing academy players that come through and all do well. You'll always have that one that didn't, and then everyone will go, look, you missed out on this one.
Nick Pope is the best example.
Yeah, true.
He lives and breathes that example of coming through Ipswich, being told that he's not good enough and not ready, going back to non-league, and look where he is now at Burnley, number 1 keeper and in the England side when fit. So, it does happen.
Yeah, Dan, the list is endless of players from this area who have gone pro. I agree.
There's good academies at Norwich, and Ipswich's academy was good.
And they all of those players do filter down into non-league and then go back up, don't they?
Yeah.
What's the lad who went to Wrexham recently? No, not Wrexham, to Wrexham rather. He was at Sudbury. Oh God, I can't remember.
Yeah, I know
his name. Is it Kyle French? Kyle French, yeah. Brilliant talent. Again, just another example of somebody who's had to kind of start off in non-league and work their way back up. So definitely. Tyler French, that's the one. Not Kyle. Who's Kyle French? Why does Kyle French ring a bell with me? There's going to be a follower of mine that's called Kyle French.
We're all in now. So
brilliant. There we go. Maverick, I've heard Ipswich do not scout Suffolk. I've
heard Ipswich don't scout.
Well, that was probably true under previous regimes.
They're on data analysis now, aren't they?
Yeah.
They're on the new model of data analysis, which is completely different to your standard go along, watch a player, see if they're good enough. So don't know how that actually works in scouting's not the same anymore, though, is it? It's all about watching videos and looking at deeper performance than just, years ago. Do they run around, move the ball right, and look like they're part of the team? It's all part of this big England DNA thing that they have to look at now. It's a completely different kettle of fish.
Ipswich is so poorly run these days. Norwich have more academy setups than Ipswich does. That is 100% true. I know that for a fact.
They're trying to make waves again, though. Yeah,
it is slowly starting to turn back round in Ipswich. Maybe not as Suffolk as a whole, but in Ipswich, it is slowly starting to turn back. Because
Ipswich have got 2 job adverts out at the moment for community placements to try and start pushing it over again.
Yeah, I know. I do know people who work at Ipswich in the youth setup, and they are actively talking to me about the stuff that they're doing. And I know that is, especially with the new owners that have come on board, that is slowly starting to turn around. So, it's going to be a watch this space kind of thing on that, but it's not something, unfortunately, when you've had the whole of your youth identity ripped out of you, which is what happened under the previous regime, it does take a lot of time to build that back up. You can't just snap your fingers and everything's going to be how you had it.
It goes back to the cost cutting where possible, though. We can take this conversation back all the way to near where we started today. At clubs at the moment, and for a few years, if there is a place to cut the costs, they will try and identify. And I think at Ipswich, the academy probably was an area, whereas now they seem to be really focusing in on it. I think Kieran Dyer's doing some great work there to build that reputation back up again, and he's got the passion for it and wants to make it as best as it could. And having a legend for the club is important in my eyes to move that agenda forward. Because they know what's important to the heart of the club because they've been there and done it themselves.
Yeah, true. Dan, I will be at Braintree versus Ipswich under-23s next week. It'll be interesting to see the difference in levels as majority of under-23 players end up at local teams. Well, if I'm being honest, the Bury game that I was at, when it was the first team in the under-23s for Ipswich, they were on top of Bury, 100%. But the moment it started getting to the kind of under
18s,
they really struggled against Bury. They really, really struggled. And Bury didn't make any changes at half time. They kept the same lads, majority of them, for the second half. So you would have thought they'd come on with a bit of freshness and a bit of an idea about them, but it just didn't kind of transpire. So you never know. It might be exactly the same because obviously Bury, Braintree, play at a higher level than Bury, but you never know. It might well be that that there is a bit of a difference between it. I don't know. I really, really don't know.
I saw Ipswich's under-23s play Walsham last season in the Premier Cup, I think it was. And they were all monsters. They were just enormous. Like the under-23 players. Yeah. And they out-muscled them and so organised, and any decision that went against them, they didn't argue. They just got on with the game. So well drilled. It was unbelievable. And and that's not a slight against Furlough Nunn, but it was like watching two teams playing two completely different games. Walsham were throwing everything at it, but it was just a brick wall that they were coming up against.
Yeah. There won't be any Ipswich players as there'll be in Colchester.
There will be some in the bomb squad that will be in it. So Ipswich have got some ex-first team players that are not being transferred over to this season. We're looking to be moved out of the club. Yeah,
Kane Jacksons, Ken Locks, the Teddy Bishops, those kind of players who were all there at Bury will probably be there again. I would imagine.
There's about 5 of them, I think, that you'll probably get to see. It'll be of a fairly good standard.
Yeah, definitely. Hannah, I agree with Adam. Crystal Palace's academy is one of the best, and the youth teams are coached by Palace legends. Follow the trawler. Do you guys know anything about Connor Parson? Apparently, he's an ex-Norwich player and put himself out there as a free agent. Got a lot more likes and retweets than I've seen in a long time. The name does ring a bell. It's just not somebody I've ever actually seen play. But I know that he was in our academy setup fairly recently. But
I'll decipher that for the audience. That's that James has never bought him on Football Manager and hasn't had much luck with him.
I haven't watched, as Rob pointed out to me recently, I haven't watched a Norwich game in a long, long time. Did you watch the Kings Lynn Norwich game the other day? They transmitted it on YouTube. I thought it was incredible. Yeah, they did. They live streamed it. Yeah, I watched the first half. We looked all right. But
what a bang from Kings Lynn.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness me. James was telling me the guy that hit that shot, that hit the crossbar before the ball went in, he was an ex-Norwich player.
Yeah.
He was out of the academy, but flipping heck.
Half of our academy lads that either don't quite make the grade, they either go to Lowestoft or they go to Kings Lynn. There's not really anything else in between. And then once you've been to there, you then kind of filter yourself out throughout the rest of Norfolk and Suffolk. But those are the two kind of destinations you either Lowestoft or you Kings Lynn, and it depends on which side of it, which way out of Norwich you kind of go when you're being told to bugger off.
It must have been a bit of a come down for some of the Norwich players. I mean, what's the new midfielder they've just signed who was literally at Wembley like 2 weeks beforehand? Billy Gilmore.
Oh, yeah, Billy Gilmore, yeah.
At Wembley a couple of weeks beforehand. The next thing you know, we're at the Walks.
Real football.
It's odd how things can change.
Definitely.
Leicester with Edie, this is a good one. Yeah. So you've got Leicester, but you've also got Wroxham that suck in a lot of ex-Norwich as well.
Yeah, that's the thing, because they've got Adam Jury as their number 2 now, who obviously used to be Norwich left back in the day.
Grant Holt is their number 9, mate.
Yeah, Simon Lappin's still there as well. So definitely. Gutted Gilmore is there. I'm not. I'm covering Leicester versus Norwich next week. Lovely stuff. Good to see. Right, let's move on. We've had a lot of cup draws to go through, so let's kind of rattle through some of these.
Get the graphics out, James. Get the graphics out.
Adam, I'm not even going to try and pronounce half of these names, but the FA Cup extra preliminary round, which is due to kick off on the 7th of August, was announced. And as you can see, the winners receive £1,125 in prize money and losers receive £375. But here are some of our local sides and some of the teams that they will be playing against. We do have Fakenham versus Ely in there, which sadly is 2 local teams facing off against each other. Would have liked to have seen as many of our teams avoid each other as possible, but you have got Bramford versus Galston in there. Again, that's, both teams would have liked to have not played each other. That's a tough game. That's a really tough game. But majority of our sides...
That's a horrible one, because both of those sides you'd think could do a round. They're both of a good quality in our league, so that is a horrible one.
Yeah, but have you noticed a lot of our sides? You've got Witton away, Thetford away, March, Haverhill, Woodbridge, all away from home. That's
Northampton on Chenix. I mean, against God Manchester Rovers, that's still going to be fairly local, isn't it? With God Manchester being up near Cambridge way.
Yeah, definitely.
So that's not going to be too far for the teams to go.
Good that Hadley have got a home game and Clacton as well, which is important. So
I wonder how much home advantage will play into that Brantham game against Galston. The teams are both going to be familiar with each other.
Yeah, definitely. There's also a few more ties from our area as well. We've got Kirkley and Pakefield versus Long Melford. Lakenheath versus Mulbarton, 2 promoted teams playing against each other.
This is why I picked this out. Yeah, Lakenheath and Mulbarton. That's going to be a banger for a first cup game. That is.
Mildenhall versus Wroxham as well's in there. Swaffham versus Walsham. There's some big games from the FA Cup being pulled out here.
These are, I tell you what, Lakenheath, Mulbarton, Mildenhall, Wroxham, Swaffham, Walsham. They're all teams that in our league that I'd expect to finish in similar places.
Yeah.
While Newmarket have got to travel to Wellingborough. There's some big journeys there. Again, Kirkley and Pakefield and Long Melford. They're all coupled up in teams that would almost finish next to each other in the league, I would imagine.
Yeah, definitely. Any one game standing out for you that you think is that if you could go to a game, which one would be on your radar right now?
Well, Norwich United Long Buckby sounds like some sort of strange animal. Norwich United, I'm actually quite keen to see how Norwich United do off the back of where they are. They're making a few signings now. And through intrigue, I would actually really like to get to a Norwich United game fairly soon. But as it's been pointed out there by Ben, I think that Lakenheath Mulbarton one is the one that I picked out straight away. Early days as being tie of the round as such for me. Having 2 teams fresh to step 5 going in there, one of them's got a chance to go another round, which is exciting.
Yeah, definitely. Shane has said Norwich versus Long Buckby. Dan has said Mildenhall versus Wroxham. We've obviously had Ben said Lakenheath versus Mulbarton. Long Buckby hammered last year in the FA Cup, apparently. Follow the trawler. I would go to the God Manchester game. Never heard of the opposition.
Who are God Manchester playing? Get back a screen.
Northampton and Chenix,
not a team I've heard of either. Bugbrook St Michael's, they cropped up in something else that we were looking at.
They did
last season, and I can't remember what cup it was.
Yeah, I'd quite like to see the Fakenham Ely game, because Ely were one of those teams last year that if the season had gone on, I would have loved to have gone over and seen what they were about, because they would.
Ely will go well this year, mate.
They were kind of going under the radar quite a lot last year because they weren't like blowing teams out of the water, but they were getting results. And obviously, with Fakenham being a recently promoted team, that for me looks like a pretty decent game. Although Brantham versus Galston, again on paper, that's a proper tie.
I'm very aware that the core of our audience is Suffolk, Essex, with some Norfolks in there, but Ely aren't too well. That direction isn't too well covered in terms of our audience. But if anyone doesn't know too much about them, last season was a major turn in form from them. They got a new manager in, and honestly, I think under the radar they will do well. Yeah, definitely.
For Christ's sake, Shem. Bugbrook were on Sister Act 2, were that? Oh, Christ above. Follow the trawler. Apparently, it is not on, but on, as in short for old Northamptonians.
Learn something new every day, right?
There you go. So there we go. So there are the FA Cup ties, and now we've got the FA Vars games which have been drawn out as well. Your team in there, Adam, Wisbech St Mary versus Great Yarmouth. What do you make of that?
Well, apparently they're going to send me a shirt over, so I'll
They
be
are.
all over it. So
Wisbeach have said they want to send you a shirt.
Big shout out to Wisbeach St Mary. That would be amazing to get them through a round of the Vars. And if I'm honest, I think Yarmouth is probably the game they want to try and do it. Nothing against Yarmouth, but I think that's a good matchup for them. And that's a winnable game. Yarmouth are a bit of a yo-yo team at the moment. I think that they've got aspirations to push on and get themselves back to step 5, but I'm not sure they're ready for it yet. I don't know where that will be. They're building things quite heavily in the youth section at the moment, so I don't know. But there's again Parsons Drove in there against Manchester Rovers. Walsham against March. That's going to be a good one, isn't it?
Yeah, that's a good one. UEA obviously recently promoted from Step 7 into the Furlough None North against Swaffham. I'd love to see what UEA are about. It's not a team I've ever kind of covered or even thought about looking into, but they will be on the radar next year, 100%.
You've got Little Oakley that'll be a decent game.
Yeah, Witton and Long Melford at home, which is great. Then you've got Haverhill, Borough and Hadley away from home in their ties. At the top, we've got Debenham versus Peterborough and Northern Star. And then an extension of some of the teams from our area, Woodbridge versus Woodford. We've got Clacton away from home, Ipswich away, and Bramford versus Holland, which should be an interesting tie.
Harwich and Parkston against Ipswich Wanderers. That's a divisional matchup. They're in the same league division now, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
So that'll be a good one to get that out the way.
Easy Wisbeach win, says Dan.
Let's go for it.
Jack, UEA versus Swaffham will be a decent game. Witton versus Enfield will be interesting.
It's good that Enfield are doing the travelling on that one, with Witton being away for the FA Cup.
Yeah, the Harwich versus Ipswich game in particular looks like.
I think that'd be tasty.
I don't really know much about them, but again, stand-up tie for you from those set of games. I'm going to stick with my original UEA versus Swaffham. That for me is very intriguing. I'd love to see that match.
I think Melford versus Little Oakley will be an interesting one. It's a step 5, step 6 matchup with Oakley being away. I'm interested to see what Melford are going to bring this season. They've been quite a consistent mid-table team. Got the new clubhouse going on, and
I was just about to say, obviously, a lot going on off the field as well for the club. Which, again, they're on my list to do next year. Just once the improvements have been done, to kind of give it a little bit of a spotlight, etc. So that will be good.
But we know how it goes. Like, you play a fairly local team. Little Oakley aren't miles away from Melford. You play a fairly local team. You go away from home and you put a cup spin on it. I think that could be that could be a really interesting game across the division. But Wisbeach versus Great Yarmouth. We know the history that's there with Wisbeach. I'm not sure on Great Yarmouth this year. They're a team I'm worried about. I think that's a great opportunity, and celebrations and party poppers all round if Wisbeach get through the first round of the Vars.
Yeah, definitely. Follow the trawler. I fancy the Shrimpers against Ipswich, doing good things down at Royal Oak, but having a sponsor board down there, I may be a little bit biased. Ben Moore, Witton, I might get around to. Ipswich Wanderers team is unreal this season. I know your comment earlier, Dan, about the signing of Anton Clark. The team they are building is well equipped to handle.
Well equipped. Don't undercook the egg. That's not a step 6 team. That's what I'm going to say.
No, it's not. But it's well equipped to handle what we were talking about earlier in terms of the Saturday, Tuesday.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they will have no problems with that. No problems.
They've got some leaders all over the pitch now as well.
Lee Sturgeon, thanks for getting involved in the chat, mate. UEA are a top team. They play great football. Yeah, you see, I knew that really.
Do you know what though? Like UEA coming up, UEA are just into step 6, and Swaffham haven't had a pleasant time in step 5.
Yeah,
so it'll be interesting to see how that goes. And they're at home, so we've got home advantage.
Yeah.
It will be interesting.
Anyone from Wisbeach St Mary over the age of 18 for this year?
I don't know much about the squad. I know they listen in normally the day after, I think. So it'd be interesting if they want to fill us in with what their squad looks like and what their plans are for the season.
Yeah, definitely. We had some FA Trophy first round qualifying draws as well, which is due to kick off on the 25th of September. Only a few from our area, but we did have DeeJam being drawn away from home. We got hashtag at home as well.
You've included hashtag as one of our teams.
Do you know what? I thought I can't leave them out. I can't leave them out. Look, they are where they are, and they're in our league for step 4, aren't they? They're going to be a big team this year.
Well,
you know what I mean?
If they can bring their 200,000 subscribers over here to watch in and see how we chart their progress, I'm all for it, mate.
Yeah, get involved. Hashtag whatever. Yeah. Love it.
Oh dear.
But one thing I did want to mention before we kind of go into the leagues and the fixtures that are being announced on there, one thing that was pointed out for the actual winners prize pot in terms of how much people get for winning and losing each competition, it has been more leveled out this year. So the winners get slightly less, but the losers get slightly more for each round of the competition. So for some people who might be thinking, well, hang on, that was far less than it was last year, that's the reason why. So just before if anybody did spot that, I don't know if people did, but there we go.
Doesn't matter though. There's money in it, and money helps pay the bills, doesn't it? It keeps the floodlights on.
Definitely. Ipswich Rail Exiles. I'm going to have to start calling you IVE. It's just going to be a lot simpler from now on. Ipswich Wanderers seem to be signing all the players based in Ipswich. Anton, Chris, Rose, Dev, Cunningham, Jake Baker, all Ipswich boys. I would love to see you collaborate with Spencer at hashtag. Look, if they want to chuck their subscribers this way, I'm all over it. I'm all over it. There you go. Do it again, just so we can get a picture sent to them. Hashtag. There we go. Someone screenshot it and send it over to them, please.
Alive.
Claydon played them Saturday. Yes, I saw that fixture was.
I saw that, Dan. That's going to be interesting.
Very tasty game. Very tasty game.
I won't lie. Wanderers have had some nice results in pre-season.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very nice.
By the same thing, Claydon are not going to lay down.
No, Claydon are obviously a very, very good team. Yeah. So we've had now all of the opening round of fixtures done from step 3 all the way down to step 7. So we're going to be going through the opening weekend's worth of games on the screen now. For each division. Let us know down in the comment section which game from each division you would most be looking forward to. It's exactly the same as what you've been doing in the cup competitions. Let us know for the league games. We start off at step 3, and we have, 2 of our sides away from home in Leiston and Needham. So we've got Leiston away to Bronsgrove Sporting, Needham away to Hednesford Town. And the only team that we have at home from our area is Lowestoft versus Barwell. Thoughts on any of those teams in there? Who are you most looking forward to seeing this season, Adam?
I'm excited for Needham, in that league. I think if Needham can pick up and develop from where they were last season, and they've made some good signings. They've lost a few as well. Let's not hide from it. I think it's going to be an exciting campaign to watch.
We've seen a few players kind of going back and forth between Leiston and Needham, haven't we? There's been a few that they've gone one way and then some have gone the other. Yeah. I'm looking forward to seeing what Leiston can do.
Banbury United are a fairly decent side in that league, and they've made some signings as well. From what there's a few teams in here that I follow. And keep a close eye on in terms of seeing what they do. Rushall Olympic as well, not a bad side, playing Peterborough Sports. So, yeah.
Follow the trawler, Hednesford versus Needham for me.
We'll be keeping a very close eye on Needham this season, though, to see what they can do, because it feels like their time is now.
Yeah.
For me.
They seem to be making strides, and hopefully they can pick off where they kind of left off last season. Shem has said Tamworth will be Tamworth versus Royston again. Tamworth is a good shout. They're a very good team at that level. Just for clarification, we prefer the Vale. Okay, we'll go with the Vale. I'm happy.
Literally
with that.
should have called yourself the Vale. Although seeing names this year, you could have called yourself, I don't know, seeing the Gipping Nats. It seems like any name goes, to be honest. So
yeah. I'm happy with the Vale. It's very Game of Thrones-esque. I like it.
for God's sake.
Yeah, I'm all over that. Dan, Tamworth, Bronzegrove, and Stour Bridge are the three teams. Okay. And Dan knows his stuff. So, yeah, let's keep an eye on those three. Div 4, this is where things get really interesting from our local perspective. So, Sudbury will be starting off their season with a home game against Aveley. DeeJam are also at home against Heybridge Swifts. Felixstowe are at home against Basildon. You've got Bury away from home against Grays Athletic. And then from our other teams in our area as well, you have got Stowe, who start off their campaign at home versus Canvey Island, a team that Alex Eggleton, if you're still in the chat, mate, I know he absolutely loves those guys down at Canvey Island. He'll be excited for that one. So everyone other than Bury have got a home tie to start off their season.
Looks like Malden and Tiptree have been handed quite a kind first fixture if Romford is still in the mud that they got left in from before. And Malden, we all know Malden are a strong team. So not sure like on our teams in terms of where we're going to do. Felixstowe have had a few ins and outs. Stowe completely untested. It'd be wrong to sort of say what we think they're going to do. I'm being honest, and I think Dan has put in there about DeeJam. They're one team that I have been noticing have been making some really big name signings. I think it's really fair to say that they're already a well-established team. They've got a good setup around them, and with the players they've brought in, you got to fancy them to do well. Going back to Stowe, this is a completely different challenge for them. They haven't lost a game for 2 seasons. But they've now lost some players. They've brought some new players in. They're at a different level. They're going to be travelling different distances, and they're playing in this league with some very, very good teams. Sudbury, again, with the new management in, unknown quantity now. A lot of players have left. New players are going to come in, unknown quantity. These are hard things to call from our local point of view.
Bury's probably the only team you could say are Mr. Consistent from last season. Do you know what I mean?
They didn't play many league games, but there's a hell of a lot of excitement about what they did.
Yeah, but there's not been a mass amount of changes going on, on field as there.
No, and that's probably a good thing. They've brought a couple in, but it's a good thing.
Yeah, no, definitely. That's exactly what you want, isn't it? It's that, not to kind of really kind of jump the gun, and I don't know what the right phrase is on here, but when Sir Alex Ferguson, when he talks about his winning formula, he always talked about not making mass changes. It was always once you had a team and you were happy with it, it was then 2 signings every season, 2 signings, 2 seasons, keeps you ticking over. And, if you're going to have mass changes all the time, you're going to, it just disrupts things, doesn't it? It does disrupt things. You take far too long to get into a rhythm. And then by that point, the season could be done. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing Bury this season. I really am. I think they're going to have a very, very good season once again. Ben has said Stowe, Felixstowe, and Bury doing big things. Town Rangers, big season incoming, I think. Hashtag probably the team to beat, says Jack.
Hashtag think they're better still than this league. Like I think they think there's miles in the tank for them still. So team to beat, maybe not, but the team that think they can do it and have maybe got a bit more clout behind them to give it a real good go from a point of, a standing start. Absolutely. And you can't stand in the way of that.
Yeah. Grays versus Bury should be a good opener from that division, says Shem. Moving on into the Furlough None Prem. I mean, this is where, like, I love step 4 for next season. It's going to be fantastic, but I am really looking forward to the Furlough Prem next year. This league for me
looks strong, doesn't it?
It's going to be so good. I mean, look at some of these fixtures. Bramford versus Fakenham, Ely versus Woodbridge, Lakenheath, Thetford, March, Hadley, Mulbarton, Mildenhall, Needham versus Kirkley, Norwich versus Haverhill, Walsham, Wroxham, and Witton, Swaffham. There are some really, really good teams in this division next year.
Newmarket's recruitment has been ridiculous, and for them to play at home first game of the season versus Kirkley, Kirkley could be in a world of trouble there for my liking. And I said it on Twitter the other day to Mulbar when I saw their list of first 5 fixtures. Their first 5 fixtures are either going to be a struggle and be like dragging yourselves through the mud because they've got so many top teams in there and we don't know what they're like at this level, or they are going to prove themselves and they're going to be hitting with the big boys in terms of like they're getting straight out of the blocks. Playing Mildenhall first game of the season is a horrible fixture. Having it at home adds a bit of gloss on it and will allow them to settle.
So Mulbarton's first 5 fixtures are Mildenhall at home, Kirkley and Patefield away, Norwich United at home, Bramford Athletic at home, and Newmarket away.
They're horrible.
So
like, going away to Kirkley and Patefield is not nice.
No.
So and
for
that
reason. Tuesday night, and on a Tuesday night.
Yeah,
well.
no thanks. No, thank you. I wouldn't make the trip. So yeah, that's it's
Shem's comment here. Take your pick on these, all absolute belters. Next Saturday the season starts. Yeah, we've well, not this Saturday coming up, but the following one. Yeah, on the 31st the season starts. We are literally not far away at all now.
We are there.
Most competitive league in years. I mean, I don't even know where to begin picking a game to potentially.
Ely Woodbridge will be a banger to open up with.
Yeah,
because I know Woodbridge are sort of sniffing around a lot of signings and doing things, and I think Ely will go well. But Haverhill Rovers, I'm not sure they'll be able to compete with Norwich United with the business that they're doing. Wroxham, it'll be interesting to see where they go. Walsham, they've been picked apart a bit. Walsham have by Lakenheath, who have got Thetford. Now, Thetford haven't gone well the last couple of years. Lakenheath quite strong coming up, but Thetford have looked good in their friendlies. They've been getting good results. So they've got some experience on the coaching. There's a lot in there to unpick.
Yeah, can't wait. Good luck to the game to go to every week. Yeah, this is going to be my problem next year because there are going to be some absolute belters in this division that I really want to go to. But then if a local derby pops up in step 4, like I'm buggers. Like I don't like which one do you pick? Like honestly, next year is going to be so good.
We need more roving reporters to recruit, don't we?
Basically, I need you with your camera, and I need me, and then we can kind of get 2 games covered in one, and then we won't have to deal with that. But
double-pronged attack.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, steady. Yeah, Jack, can't wait. Good luck picking a game. Is the Super 6 coming back? Yes, it is. We are going to have a big.
The announcement is next week.
We have got a very, very big announcement, which will tie in to last year's end competition, but we are literally finalizing a few details which we will discuss next week. But yeah, we are literally this close to announcing something.
We're also going to do a Premier League dream team fantasy football league for us all. Now James probably will enter it and never look at it again, but there's a lot of people that enjoy playing the fantasy football, so I've got a code set up for a league. We'll get that published alongside it, and that's going to be something else that we can have a look at as well, and it gives people another chance to go at something else.
So, Ben, my top 3 is Norwich, Lakenheath, and Witton. Wow, bold predictions right from the get-go for Ben. Dan says, just please no wheel.
Loads of wheel action this year. There'll be bonus points just on the wheel.
Yeah, there'll be 3 wheels every week, Dan. So sorry, but it's not going anywhere. Ben, I'm coming for the top spot in the Super 6. There's some tough games anyway. Just to go back to this graphic here, Jesus Christ, I really don't know how to call
hard league.
Yeah, I don't really know how to call what game is the definitive opening one that you should go to. But yeah, so many to pick from. But from those of you who are ground toppers in the chat, you are going to absolutely love next year, like without a doubt. We've got nice to meet you boys at the end of last season. Then we're not talking about the whole Bramford squad movement.
I don't actually. I'm going to be honest and hold my hands up. I don't even know about that.
it's not something I kind of know the full details on, and I don't really want to be speculating on it. But if people want to have an open chat about it, we'll have a bit of a discussion about it at the end.
Love to be a discussion facilitator.
Wagon wheel sponsorship incoming.
I don't accept hobnobs.
Yeah, maybe. Furlough and North.
That comment.
What comment was that?
Oh dear, at the bottom.
No, we are not.
Oh Christ.
Furlough none, First Division North. Look, there's only been the 5 games announced so far from this division. We've got Debenham, Dis, Norwich CBS, UEA versus Needham Market, Wisbech versus Sheringham in there. I thought there would be more games announced than this, but for whatever reason, there's only the 5 that have been announced so far. But obviously, we know the league has been shortened down to, well, there will ever be...
Who Peterborough North End?
I don't know. It's what come up on the Furlough None website. So I just literally copied it.
It's Peterborough Northern Star, isn't it?
Well, that's what I thought, but I literally just copied. I literally just copy and pasted it from the FA's website.
James has crossbred Preston North End with Peterborough Northern Star.
No, that is what it says on the full-time website. I literally just did a copy and paste job. That is my bad for not research, for not paying attention to what I was copy and pasting. But yeah, it actually says Peterborough North End on there.
Ben, I don't know what they're called, but I am doing the free fantasy one that's sort of through the Premier League, not the Dream Team one that you pay for.
Peterborough Sports Feeder team, love that. Preston North Star, love that. Absolutely love that.
Preston Northern Star,
yeah.
I'd struggle to pick a game off there if I'm honest. Obviously, Debenham versus Huntingdon, who are Huntingdon? I haven't seen them play yet, if you know what I mean. No. Parsons Drove, haven't seen them play. Peterborough Northern Star, not North End, haven't seen them play. UEA, haven't seen them play. Wisbech St Mary versus Sheringham, I suppose, is the stalwarts of the division.
There we go. Furlough None Division South. We've now got a lot of games that have been drawn out for this one, including at the bottom there, you may well see Ipswich Wanderers versus Benfleet as well. Some of our old teams from this area who have now moved into this division. We've got Sudbury Reserves away at Brimsdown. Cornard United are away from home as well. Again, I'd love to know people who are familiar with the division, people who have watched this level of football before and who know some of these teams. Who should we look out for in the First Division South? Because again, this is going to be a league that we are starting to cover more and more as the season goes on. And
Hackney Wick have the best shirts in non-league, so I'll be covering them.
Right. Okay. Fair enough.
True story.
Go on, Wisbech, says Dan. Yeah, so we've got is North End. It is North End. I think Northern Star haven't moved. Well, there you go.
Oh no, don't say this, Jack. I'm going to look a right woolly. Besides that, Cornard have got an easy opening day of the season. They're playing against a walking club. The Burnham Ramblers.
As I said, I'm sure someone who watches these teams regularly will know who to kind of look out for.
We're going to have to find out a lot more about this league.
Yeah, 100%
road trips, I think.
Yeah, but this is all part of a learning experience for us and moving forward. As I said, we're looking forward to covering the league next year. But so there are the opening fixtures
nice
for that
to
one.
Invite some more teams into the family.
100%. And from the SIL, we have only the one league where fixtures have been confirmed for the opening round. And that is it. Literally only the opening day's worth of fixtures have been announced. But these games are set to be played on Saturday, the 7th of August. There was talk that the Westerfield game versus Copplestonians was going to be played on a Friday night. But I believe that has now been changed. So if anyone can correct me in the comment section, let me know. But I swear I did see something about that game being played on Friday.
Don't Cops play their home games on Friday nights normally?
They do sometimes, because they share their ground with Ipswich, don't they? Yeah. So we've got Bennell versus the Vale, Bilderson versus Achilles, Capel Plough versus Halesworth, Claydon versus Trimley, which, I mean, for a first game of the season, Jesus Christ,
Yeah,
like either team would have been like, for Christ's sake, really? That's the standout game in it.
I think Westerfield versus Cops will be a decent game as well.
Yeah,
because lots of sort of change around, and Cops didn't. It wasn't great for them, was it, last season, or as good as it could be?
No, they didn't particularly start off.
No, so I think that'll be an interesting one as well.
Yeah, I mean, depending on what happens with Ipswich Vale, moving forward into the season, that game against Bennell could be a very decent one. There's some good games on there. Regardless, Henley versus Leyton St Margaret's as well is on there. So we've had a few comments on here. Harwich, I'd say, are favourites. May and Baker, one to watch too, as they love a Friday night. Houston Town, it's about time they got promoted.
I'll tell you now, with the team that Wanderers have got, I can't see anyone other than Wanderers winning that league. Yeah. They have got step 4 and 5 players in a step 6 team.
Yeah. Wanderers, May and Baker teams to watch, says Dan. Claydon versus Trimley. Wow, says Shem. Yeah, like I said, that as an opening game is just like. Claydon versus Trimley was a repeat of the first game of the season last season. Hopefully, it's not the same result. Yes, because I remember Trimley winning that and everyone going, "Whoa, that's a bit of a shock." Top 3 for the SIL, in my opinion, in no particular order, is Claydon, Trimley, Achilles, or even Bilderson. Achilles, wow, that's a big shout.
Top 4. It's Jamie's first actual proper go at managing the team. He's another one that's been in there ages and never got a chance to really have a go at it.
Yeah. Claydon versus Trimley would be your 4 p.m. Super Sunday for opening weekend. Yeah, no, I agree with that. That's a Saturday 12 o'clock early kickoff. Like, let's get the season up and running kind of game. That's a belter. That really, really is. John Warnock's in the chat. Good to see you, my man. Hope you're doing well. Hope things have been going right for you. Yeah, Claydon versus Trimley Red Devils. I think that is the overwhelming favourite game for a lot of people moving into this season. So yeah, I'm looking.
Big crowd at the carpet.
Yeah, 100%. Does this or does this not just get your kind of excitement levels going up again for next season? Because we can have the preseason games all we want, and there's a mismatch of levels and divisions and people playing who and blah, 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 blah. But when you actually see the proper fixtures for the first time, does this not, like, I don't know, for me, I'm now, when I started putting all of these graphics together on Sunday, I started to get quite excited about next season. Like, really starting to look forward to, getting our teeth into next year and really start going for it, and just hopeful on a successful campaign.
It lights the fire in the belly a bit, doesn't it? It gets you up and ready for all the rubbish we've been through. Like, it's good to get it all down on paper and know that it's provisionally happening. All being well. So yeah, I'm excited. It'll be good.
What division? I know we're going to be going through a bit of a breakdown of each division into next week's show. So look forward to getting everybody's thoughts and opinions on the overall division rather than the opening weekend's fixtures. But is there a division you're particularly looking forward to either covering or going to watch? Not individual teams, but is there a particular league that you're really keen on for next year?
As a step 5 is like, I don't think we've seen it this strong. Like,
step 5.
Yeah, I think, like, I know there's a lot of change at step 4 and stuff, but step 5 there's a lot going on there, and there's a lot of exciting teams. I'm really excited by the teams that got promoted into it as well, and I think it'll be quite spicy, I think.
Yeah, no, definitely. A few more comments before we kind of wrap tonight's show up on it. Dan, I'd love to see Bilderson do well, especially after their success in the Cup last season. They're a great bunch of lads. They admitted themselves they are not the best team in the world, but in terms of team spirit and what you need to grind out results and perform well as a unit, there's not many teams in the SIL. To be honest, I don't really think there are any better teams in the SIL more equipped for that than Bilderson. They are a proper unit, and they've shown themselves, to be.
I had this conversation with you, didn't I? The quality they showed in the cup shows that they've got it about them.
100%.
And I take back everything I said at the start of last season. I hope I'm forgiven.
Fair play. Dan, Div 1 is going to be crazy next year in the SIL. Yeah, no, you're 100% right.
When isn't it crazy, Dan? When isn't Div 1 crazy?
Div 1 is the SIL's version of the championship. Like, once you're in there, it is bloody hard to get out of, and it's so good. But yeah, next year, because there are some big signings being made by a lot of teams down there. And I think a lot
of SIL players swapping clubs and stuff, isn't there, at the moment?
Yeah, I think some of the teams who you saw up there last season will not be there next time around.
I can't wait to hear who you're calling out there.
That's all I'm going to say. I think there's a lot of teams who are in that middle cluster.
James is throwing shade at the SIL.
No, it's not shade. I'm just saying there's been a lot of moves. There's been a lot of moves, and I know there's far more to come as well, from what I'm being told. And I think as a Div 1 next year, that's. I mean, I'm not going to leave it at that, but it is Div
Jim White signing out.
Yeah, Div 1 is going to be mental. It is going to be absolutely mental. Ryan, you're kind of joining us at the end, mate, but evening, no worries. You can watch us on Catch Up, listen to this on any of the podcast platforms, absolutely no problem. I'd love to hear your thoughts on what's going to be going on with Bury next year. Get involved in the comment section, whether or not it's live in the chat right now, or leave us a comment afterwards and we'll reply to it, mate.
It's been really good getting the whole community together again and getting that sense of urgency and excitement about the season coming back, and chucking the comments in as to who we think will do well. It's been nice having that back.
Michael, Bergolt versus Ransoms on a Friday. Is that?
That's a couple of people have mentioned that, so I think it's just been missed.
Is that in the top league? Is it? Because that's not been covered on any of. That's not been covered on any of the graphics at all. I don't know. Let me have one quick look, just see if that has been now confirmed, because it definitely wasn't there when I did stuff the other night. No, there's nothing on the full-time website. If I go on to Ransom Sport, it says that East Bergolt, Hawley United, and Old Newton have closed the date.
Bergolt has been called off.
Yeah, that leaves Ransom Sports without a game, and the remaining 12 teams play on Saturday afternoon. So,
yeah, I've just had a message saying Bergolt's been called off.
Right, there you go. There we go. Hannah, can't wait to cover Step 5 this season. Dan, Wickham, Market, and Grunsborough have signed some good players. Claydon will miss Dicker. Yeah, I was quite shocked on that one, but I've been told to expect the unexpected. So, I said some of the games that are going to be, some of the signings rather, that are still to happen during this summer. Just kind of watch this space on that. The game did exist, but now doesn't. There you go. So there you go. That's the confirmation of that. Because like I said, when I sat down to do this Sunday, that game wasn't on there. But I said I knew there was a Friday game of some kind. But there we go. So yeah, we are going to wrap up tonight's show. There was a comment I did see coming through from Luke. Yes, Luke, give me a message and I will sort out the gifts that we were talking about with the Euro sweepstake. Because as much as I'm sure you were bitterly disappointed that Italy did beat England, you did win the sweepstakes. So congratulations on that, my man. And I will be messaging, and I can't remember who it was. I had who had England, but yes, I will be messaging them as well, because I was doing a winner and runner-up prize. So yeah, DM me and I'll sort something out for you during the week, my man. And then, as I said, for all of those of you who are keen to know what's going on with Super Sticks, we will have the announcement for you next week. So we'll be able to
start of the new one, won't it? Next week, because the Furlough None will kick us off.
Yes, yeah, very true. We will have the first round of that coming up. So, yeah, really looking forward to that. Looking forward to some Suffolk Non-League Show meetups. Yeah, 100%. This season, we will definitely get it going. whether or not it's even games that we might not be necessarily recording at, but just come along to just watch a game of football and just have a bit of a chat and a social. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, definitely will be happening at some point this season. But
what we really need to do is get a VO, chuck that up, record it, and then we can enjoy the game. That can record the game, and we can get it edited afterwards. That's the dream.
Maybe. But boys, been a blast. Keep safe. Glad you're back. Adios. Yeah, 100%. It's been really good. Thank you very much for joining me, and obviously myself and Adam for tonight's show. It's been really nice to spend the end part of my birthday with all of you guys and the community that we've built up over the past season. I say all the time. Thank you everyone for sticking by us throughout the whole of our season. This season, I hope you've been excited as we are getting built, prepared and ready for this upcoming season. There's going to be a lot of twists and turns along the way, but I think we can all agree it's going to be an absolute belter of a season, and I can't wait for all of you guys to join us for the journey. It's going to be brilliant. Adam, any final words from yourself before we round up tonight's show?
Just one more week of being bored on a Saturday, then we can do it properly with some competition and kick the ball with some anger. So let's look forward to it. We're nearly there. We've got 100%. One more week of us sort of making it up as we go along as well before we get back to us doing it with purpose again. So, if you're worried about the amount of waffle that we put in, it's all going to become purposeful in a couple of weeks. So join us next week for another great edition.
Yes. Next week, we will be previewing each division that we are covering all the way from step 3 downwards. And we will be talking about teams that we think are going to be underdogs, teams that we think are going to do better than expected. And we've also got the teams that we are worried about for next season. So join us for that. I can't wait to see your comments flying in about various different teams from all of the divisions. But yeah, we'll see you next Monday for that. Whatever game you go off to for this week, no matter where it is, whatever you're doing, stay safe, look after each other, enjoy the games that you're at. And yeah, football is nearly here. We are nearly returning. Thank you very much for joining us, everyone. We will see each other all next week for another live edition of the Suffolk Non-League Show. But until then, as always, adios, everyone.